Have you ever walked away from someone feeling drained, confused, like your soul had been touched by something you couldn't explain? What if I told you that not every connection in your life is harmless, and some are spiritually designed to derail your path? In this video, we're going to expose 8 types of people who can silently sabotage your connection to the universe, block your intuition, and pull you away from your true self. These aren't just difficult personalities, they are energetic patterns, mystical archetypes, hidden agents of spiritual confusion. And if you don't learn how to recognize them, they can keep you stuck in loops of suffering, emotional exhaustion, and inner chaos for years. You might not even realize it's happening, because these people often come disguised as friends, as lovers, even as mentors. But if you know the signs, you can walk away before the damage is done. What we're about to uncover isn't taught in schools or churches. This is ancient wisdom, whispered by mystics and confirmed by deep psychological insight. If you've been feeling off, like your inner clarity is fading, or you're constantly questioning your reality, stay until the very end, because this might be the moment your soul's been waiting for, a moment of recognition, a return to the truth. And by the way, a lot of people watch our videos but aren't subscribed. If this kind of content speaks to something deep inside you, if you're ready to reconnect with your spirituality and awaken the mystical part of your soul, then subscribe now to Celestial Truths. Let this be the beginning of your transformation. What we're about to reveal might just change the way you see everyone around you, including yourself. There are moments when the soul speaks before the mind has even formed a single thought. It's subtle, like the hush of the wind before a storm, or the flicker of a candle that senses a shift in the room. You meet someone, exchange a glance, a word, maybe just share the same air, and something inside you recoils. There's no clear reason, nothing concrete, but your chest tightens, your breath shallows, and your presence feels invaded. This, dear seeker, is not paranoia. This is the universe whispering through the language of intuition, an ancient compass embedded deep within the unconscious, designed to keep your path aligned with your soul's purpose. To ignore it is to silence a guardian that speaks not in facts, but in frequencies. Every mystic knows this sensation well. It's not fear, it's awareness, a kind of sacred alertness that bypasses logic and moves straight through the spiritual body. The mystics would say the ether around the person you've just met feels tangled, darkened, heavy with unresolved shadow. In energetic terms, their aura may be fractured or polluted. Jung might describe this as a moment of unconscious archetypal activation, your psyche recognizing something dangerous long before your rational self catches up. When this occurs, do not argue with yourself. Don't spiritualize the discomfort or shame yourself for being intolerant. This is not judgment, it is resonance. Spirituality, when grounded in experience and not dogma, teaches us to trust the body's wisdom. The body is a sacred messenger, constantly in communion with the mystical layers of the universe. A gut feeling, a chill down your spine, the sudden impulse to leave a room. These are not coincidences. These are data points from your subtle senses, connected to something greater. Have you ever entered a space and felt inexplicably drained or agitated, or met someone whose smile felt off? That's your spiritual antenna picking up interference. Pay attention. Your inner compass is calibrated by something far older than intellect, something cosmic. This awareness often comes as a soft voice, a nudge, a feeling, and that's why it's so easily dismissed. In a society addicted to noise, silence feels suspicious, but it's in the quiet that the divine speaks clearest. Intuition doesn't shout. It doesn't justify itself, it simply knows. And when we choose to override that knowing, out of politeness, fear of rejection, or the desire to give someone the benefit of the doubt, we betray our own inner guidance. Walking away doesn't mean closing your heart. It means respecting your field, protecting your light. Your spirituality is not only what you offer, it's also what you preserve. Imagine your intuition as a sacred guardian, a luminous being stationed at the threshold of your consciousness. It doesn't operate on ego or emotion. It moves with the rhythm of the universe itself, in tune with energies, symbols, and unseen truths. This guardian doesn't rationalize, it reveals. And those revelations often come cloaked in discomfort. The person who makes you shrink, who clouds your joy, who subtly silences your spirit, they are signals. And not all signals are meant to be decoded. Some are meant to be obeyed, instantly, without hesitation. To truly walk the mystical path is to understand that not all people are for you, and that's not a judgment, it's geometry. Your soul has a pattern, a vibration, a purpose. When someone distorts that frequency, it's not personal, it's energetic. There are those who carry within them confusion, chaos, fragments of unprocessed pain, and without even speaking, they emit those waves. It's not about who they are on the outside, but what their presence does to your field. Spirituality is about tuning into that dance, and sometimes choosing silence over explanation, distance over disruption. In practical terms, begin to journal these intuitive moments. Record when they happen, what you felt, what occurred later. You'll begin to see the universe weaving a pattern, a kind of cosmic feedback loop, gently reinforcing your sensitivity. Pay attention to dreams after such encounters. Look for symbols, synchronicities, and repeating imagery. The unconscious doesn't lie. In fact, it remembers everything, even what your eyes didn't see. The mystical path is one of remembrance, and every intuitive alert is a breadcrumb back to yourself. And so, the journey begins with a whisper, a glance, a sensation. Not everything that is spiritual will feel good, and not everything that feels good is truly spiritual. Intuition doesn't flatter your ego, it humbles your mind. The wise ones walk away not out of fear, but out of reverence for their own soul. And as we leave, behind the ones who dim our clarity, we prepare to meet the ones who mirror our expansion. But before that, we must learn to identify the presence that silently drains and clouds. Not every danger comes with flashing lights. Sometimes it's wrapped in silence. There are people whose mere presence feels like a fog descending over your spirit. No words are needed. Just being around them can leave you confused, heavy, and inexplicably off balance. It's like something inside you is pulled, slightly out of alignment. Your thoughts no longer your own, your joy somehow dulled. That feeling isn't random. It's not just a bad day or low mood. It's your intuition alerting you to a disturbance in your spiritual field, a signal from the universe that something mystical is unfolding beneath the surface. You don't need to understand someone's life story to know their energy. The soul knows what the mind hasn't named yet. In the realm of spirituality, everything is vibration. And some people carry a frequency that isn't just low but disruptive. They don't have to say a thing. Their presence alone can siphon clarity, blur perception, and dull your connection to the divine. It's like standing too close to a radio with static. The signal from the universe gets scrambled. That foggy feeling. That's your spiritual sensitivity registering the interference. Mystical traditions speak of this in many ways, as energy vampires, as unconscious shadow projections, as unprocessed pain made manifest. Jung understood this as psychic contamination, when one person's unresolved chaos spills into the energetic space of another. And when you're near someone who hasn't done their inner work, who refuses to face their inner noise, that energy seeks a host. You don't need to judge them, but you must learn to recognize what isn't yours and return it. The universe gave you clarity for a reason. Don't trade it for company. Some people are unaware of the way they affect others. They wander through life projecting their wounds, seeking validation instead of healing. These are not evil souls, just fragmented ones. But the danger lies in exposure. If you're sensitive, spiritually attuned, or in the middle of your own awakening, their presence can derail you. They may seem kind, well-meaning even, but you leave their space feeling lost in thought, full of doubt, or strangely tired. That's a mystical warning. Your spiritual body has absorbed their confusion. So how do you protect yourself? Grounding rituals, sacred silence, writing out what you feel after each encounter. Not everything needs to be figured out logically. Your emotions are data too. Notice who sparks inspiration and who clouds your connection. The universe doesn't just speak through symbols and synchronicity, it speaks through sensation. That subtle drop in your energy is a message. Spirituality begins when you stop gaslighting your own soul and start honoring your internal guidance system. Think of it this way. If your energy were a sacred temple, would you let just anyone walk in, drop their baggage and disappear? Of course not. You'd guard it, clean it, sanctify it. And yet, So often we open our doors to people whose presence leaves us spiritually disoriented. Why? Because we've been taught that setting boundaries is selfish, but the mystical path teaches the opposite, that saying no is a prayer, that silence is sacred, and that protecting your peace is a form of spiritual devotion. There's a difference between being compassionate and being consumed. Letting someone drain your light in the name of empathy is not service, it's spiritual sabotage. The universe never asked you to abandon yourself in the name of kindness. So when someone consistently leaves you feeling less connected, less centered, less you, don't explain it away. Don't rationalize it. Just step back, observe, choose distance if needed. That's not rejection. That's respect for your spirit, for your mystical path, for your unfolding purpose in the vast dance of the universe. And once you begin to recognize this pattern, the silent draining, the confusion that lingers, you step into a new level of awareness. It's no longer about what they do or say. It's about what they shift inside you. The journey from confusion to clarity is sacred. You'll start to sense when you've absorbed too much and when it's time to release. And just beyond that fog, just past that weight, is the next layer of revelation. Because the ones who drain your soul often come right before the ones who challenge you to reclaim it fully. There's a particular kind of person who wears suffering like a second skin. At first glance, they appear fragile, wounded, in need of tenderness. They lean on your shoulder, pour out their sorrows, and seem to breathe easier when you offer them your heart. But over time, the seeker begins to feel a shift, like they are no longer helping, but hemorrhaging. These are not just people in pain. They are emotional feeders, cloaked in victimhood, unconsciously drawing light from anyone who listens long enough. And make no mistake, their presence in your life is not coincidence. The universe sends them as a test of boundaries and energetic discernment. In the mystical path, compassion is sacred, but enabling is not. These emotional vampires don't want healing. They want your attention, your time, your energy. And they've mastered the art of perpetual crisis. They arrive with endless drama, unsolvable problems, and a haunting sadness that never shifts, no matter how much you give. Their narrative is circular, always returning to the same wound, the same grievance. This isn't a cry for transformation. It's a ritual of consumption, one that spirituality warns us to recognize early, lest we become entangled in their energetic web. Jung would describe these individuals as those who refuse individuation. Instead of facing their shadow, they externalize it, hoping someone else will carry their grief. And if you're someone attuned to the mystical, you're often a target, because your empathy glows like a beacon. You'll feel called to help, to listen, to offer light. But over time, your soul begins to feel thin, drained, disconnected. That's the sign. When your generosity begins to cost your inner alignment, you're no longer helping, you're bleeding. They often begin every conversation with a sigh, every message with a problem. Their lives are a theater of endless misfortune. But here's the key: they never ask how you are. Their world is a stage, and you, unknowingly, have become an actor in their play. If you pull back, they may guilt-trip you. They'll say things like, "You're the only one who understands me," or "I guess you don't care like I thought you did." These aren't cries for love. They are tools of manipulation. And in the mystical dance of the universe, every entanglement is a mirror. What part of you feels responsible for saving someone else from their darkness? Spirituality teaches reciprocity, a sacred flow of giving and receiving. When you help someone aligned with healing, your energy is amplified. You feel inspired, connected to purpose. But when you pour into someone who refuses to rise, your soul starts to dim. It's like trying to fill a cup with a hole at the bottom. No matter how much light you give, it disappears into a void of self-pity. This is where the mystical seeker must learn to pause, reflect, and reclaim their energy. So what do? You step back, with love, but with firmness. You remind yourself that your soul is not an emotional landfill. Use writing rituals to name your feelings. Meditate to call back your energy. Visualize a golden boundary around your spirit, not a wall, a sacred membrane. The universe responds when you choose yourself. And as painful as it may be, walking away from someone who only knows how to take is an act of spiritual maturity. It's not cruelty. It's clarity. There's a powerful truth in the teachings of the mystics. Even the wounded can wound. Being hurt does not excuse someone from taking responsibility for their impact. And as you deepen your path, you'll realize this. Not everyone who needs you deserves your light. The ones who grow will find their own way. The ones who cling will resist. But you are not here to be drained. You are here to expand, to create, to walk your sacred path with sovereignty. And when you stop feeding someone else's illusion, you allow them the space to wake up or fade away. And just beyond that severed cord lies your next spiritual challenge. The subtle manipulators who distort truth and fracture perception. Not every thief of energy cries. Some smile while dismantling your sense of reality. But we'll get to that soon. For now, breathe, feel into your field, and know this. Your energy is holy, and it's time to stop giving it to those who only want to feed and never to heal. There's a peculiar kind of darkness that doesn't shout. It whispers. It doesn't attack. It rearranges your reality. These are the subtle manipulators, the ones who chip away at your trust in yourself, one conversation at a time. Their gift is distortion. Their weapon? Doubt. They don't control with volume, they control with precision. If you've ever left a discussion feeling uncertain about something you knew in your bones, you may have been touched by this energy. And make no mistake, this is not just psychological. This is a spiritual violation, a mystical betrayal of your inner compass. Gaslighting, as we call it today, is far older than the term itself. In spiritual terms, it's the severing of your link to intuition, your silence being rewritten, your essence being edited by someone else's narrative. The universe speaks through signs, through inner knowing, but manipulators make you question the messages you've received. Suddenly, you're not sure if that boundary was too harsh, if that reaction was overblown, if your truth is even valid. They pull the threads of your identity loose until you're tangled in their version of your life. Jung spoke often of the shadow, not just as a personal force, but as something that acts through others to awaken you. The gaslighter is often possessed by their own unintegrated darkness. Rather than face it, they cloak it in charm, in subtlety, in logic twisted into control. They may say, "You're too sensitive," or "That never happened," or "You're remembering it wrong." Each phrase is a brick in the prison they build around your perception, and it's not always loud. Sometimes it's delivered with a smile. That's what makes it mystical. It's cloaked in light while moving in shadow. Spirituality asks us to remain sovereign in our awareness, and yet the gaslighter invites you to abandon yourself in exchange for approval. It's a seductive offer. Don't trust yourself, trust me. But that exchange is too costly. You begin to lose touch with the universe within you, the very source of your clarity, your creativity, your alignment. What they steal is not just confidence, they steal spiritual direction. They sever the mystical thread that keeps you attuned to the divine patterns of life. But here's the secret. You don't need to fight them to reclaim yourself. You need to remember. Remember what you felt. Remember what you knew before the distortion. The mystical path is not about proving your truth. It's about embodying it. Begin with stillness. Go into your silence. Listen to your body. The real oracle. If you feel tight around someone, if your breath shortens, if your inner world dims, that is the universe sounding the alarm. You are not crazy. You are awakening. Practical rituals can be powerful here. Write down your truth daily, especially after encounters that leave you foggy. Light a candle and speak your memories aloud. Not for validation, but for grounding. Use symbolic tools, mirrors for reflection, black stones for protection, sigils for clarity. These practices are not superstition. They're acts of spiritual defiance. You are telling the universe, I choose my light. I choose my voice. And that choice reshapes your reality. Over time, you'll begin to see how these subtle manipulators operate like sorcerers of confusion. They cast spells with language, using your empathy against you. But empathy without discernment is a portal for chaos. True spirituality teaches balance, the heart, and the mind, compassion, and clarity. The gaslighter distorts this balance. They feed off your hesitation. They thrive in your second-guessing. So let your truth be unshakable, not because it's perfect, but because it's yours. And just as one breaks free from this spell of confusion, another shadow emerges, and projection, not just of lies but of blame, of wounds flung outward like daggers. If gaslighting distorts the self, projection weaponizes it. But that is the next veil to lift. For now, know this. Anyone who consistently makes you doubt your inner knowing is not your ally. They are a test, and walking away is not an escape. It's an initiation into remembering who you are and why the universe gave you a voice in the first place. In the great journey of the soul, few experiences are more bewildering than being blamed for a wound that isn't yours. One day you're walking in clarity, grounded in your truth. The next, you're being called selfish, cold, arrogant, not because of who you are, but because your light has awakened someone else's unhealed shadow. This isn't just emotional tension, this is mystical projection, when a person's inner darkness becomes too heavy to carry, and so they hurl it at the nearest source of light. Often, that light is you. In the language of spirituality, projection is the soul's way of avoiding mirrors. Rather than turn inward and face the wound, the guilt, the unresolved grief, people unconsciously cast it outward. You made me feel this way. You're always so distant. You think you're better than me, and if you are not anchored in your truth, you might start to believe it. That is the danger. You begin to carry pain that doesn't belong to you. The universe never intended for you to hold their weight, only to witness it. Jung wrote that, "What we do not make conscious, we will call fate." Those who don't confront their shadows become puppets of them, and those puppets often dance in your direction. They lash out, accusing you of the very things they fear in themselves. If they're secretly ashamed, they'll call you judgmental. If they feel unworthy, they'll say you're arrogant. It's not about you. It's about the parts of themselves they can't yet embrace. And in their presence, your spiritual clarity becomes a threat. The mystical path requires discernment, the ability to feel what is yours and release what is not. When someone projects their guilt onto you, pause. Don't rush to explain, to defend, to shrink yourself. Breathe. Ask, is this mine to hold? Go into silence. Listen to the voice that speaks before thought, your intuition. The universe will answer through sensation, through dreams, through symbols. Pay attention to what arises when you're alone again. That's your truth resurfacing. Practical rituals can help clear the residue of these encounters. Take a salt bath, light incense, write a letter you don't send, burn it. Speak your truth aloud under the moonlight. Use affirmations. As armor, I release what isn't mine, I reclaim my center. Remember, spirituality is not about absorbing others. It's about maintaining the sacred space of your own soul. The more attuned you become, the more projections you'll attract, not as punishment, but as proof of your light. People who haven't yet met their own wounds often resent those who've done the work. They'll say you've changed, become distant, cold. But what really happened is this. You stopped playing the role they wrote for. You stopped dimming your truth to protect their illusions. That's not betrayal, that's alignment. The universe doesn't want you to be liked. It wants you to be free. And sometimes, freedom means being misunderstood by those still living in denial. Here's the key insight. The more you embody your essence, the more shadows you'll expose. Your authenticity will act as a spiritual mirror. Not everyone will like what they see. And that's okay. You are not here to carry their shame. You are not a vessel for their repressed sorrow. You are a being of light navigating a mystical journey, and part of that journey is learning to set down what was never yours to begin with. And as you let go of the guilt that was never yours, the path opens to an even subtler danger. Those who applaud you in public but resent your rise in silence. Projection isn't always loud. Sometimes it hides behind a smile. But that unveiling belongs to the next revelation. For now, reclaim what is sacred. Release what is not. And remember, your soul is not a canvas for anyone else's shadows to be painted on. Some shadows wear crowns. They smile when you win, clap when you rise, and yet, something in their eyes flickers when the spotlight hits you. This is envy in disguise, the most refined form of spiritual dissonance. It doesn't shout or sabotage outright. It lingers in silence, in half-hearted encouragements, in backhanded compliments that leave a strange taste in your energy field. And often, these individuals present themselves as supporters, friends, even soul family, but deep down they are unsettled by your light. In the mystical architecture of the universe, they become quiet disruptors. You feel it intuitively. Something about their congratulations feels off. Their praise lands flat. Their presence feels heavier than it should. It's like they want you to shine, but not brighter than them. In spirituality, we learn that true alignment celebrates the expansion of others. It doesn't flinch in the face of someone else's joy. But envy, masked as support, is a subtle, energetic poison. It plants seeds of doubt in the soil of your self-worth. Don't get too confident. I liked you better before all this success. Watch for those phrases. They are not advice, they are veiled resentment. This isn't about malice, it's about fragmentation. People who haven't touched their own purpose will often resent yours. Your growth, your creativity, your confidence, it mirrors everything they've suppressed. Instead of diving inward, they wrap their insecurity in a friendly tone and call it concern. But the mystical seeker must learn to feel the difference. Genuine support expands your aura. False support dims it. If someone leaves you second-guessing your shine, that is not support. That is spiritual interference. Jung called envy a form of shadow repression, a soul unable to face its own potential, projecting discomfort onto others who dare to embody theirs. These people don't hate you. They hate the part of themselves that never bloomed. And you, just by existing, trigger that wound. The universe placed you in their path as a mirror, but that doesn't mean you owe them your energy. Spirituality teaches us compassion, but not at the cost of our expansion. You're not here to shrink so others feel safe. So how do you spot it? Pay attention to tone, to subtle body language. Do they celebrate you in private the way they do in public? Do they support your evolution? Or just the version of you that stayed small? If your victories are met with tension, if your voice is met with silence, if your mystical path feels threatened in their presence, take note. The universe is whispering. Energy doesn't lie, even when words do. And your spirit knows who truly vibrates with your rising frequency. Protecting yourself from this disguised envy doesn't require confrontation. It requires clarity. Begin grounding practices. Keep your dreams sacred. Don't overshare with those who flinch at your light. Use symbolic rituals to seal your energy. Light a gold candle for inner power, wear protective crystals, write down affirmations that anchor your worth. Remember, the universe doesn't bless you for applause. It blesses you for alignment. If your joy threatens someone, it's revealing more about their path than yours. There's nothing wrong with outgrowing people. In fact, it's a mystical sign of evolution. As you expand in consciousness, you'll leave behind those who only loved your wounds. They felt close to your pain. But now that you're walking in purpose, they feel distant. That's not betrayal. That's the sacred grief of transformation. Not everyone can come with you into the next version of your spiritual self. And that's okay. The universe will realign your soul tribe, those who rise when you rise. And so, we shed another illusion, that everyone who claps is for us. In truth, some hands are just echoing noise. The real allies are those whose eyes light up when you speak your truth, who pray for you in silence and who honor your mystical unfolding without competition. But as we unmask envy, another presence appears, louder, messier, and far more destabilizing, those who live and breathe chaos. But that is the next chapter in your journey of discernment. There are souls who move through the world like walking storms. You can sense it the moment they arrive. The air shifts, tension rises, peace scatters like ash in the wind. These are the carriers of chaos. Not just occasional drama or fleeting mood swings, but a consistent, almost ritualistic turbulence. Wherever they go, conflict seems to follow. Relationships crumble, plans collapse, energy drains. And for the mystical seeker on a path of clarity and expansion, their presence is a direct threat to spiritual alignment. It's not that they consciously desire destruction, it's that chaos is the only rhythm their nervous system knows. Peace feels foreign, unsafe, even boring to them. So if the moment is calm, they'll ignite something, a conflict, a misunderstanding, a self-sabotage. It's as if their inner universe has never known silence, so they recreate the storm wherever they go. And if you're not careful, you'll get pulled into that whirlwind. Not out of malice, but because they need someone to anchor their chaos. Often, that someone is you. Spirituality teaches us that chaos has its place. It can be a force of transformation, a mystical fire that clears what no longer serves. But when chaos becomes a lifestyle, not a catalyst, it turns toxic. The drama becomes cyclical, habitual, predictable. These individuals feed off adrenaline, emotional explosions, energetic instability. And when you try to bring order, they resist. When you offer harmony, they mock it. Because peace threatens the survival of their identity, one built around emotional volatility and unprocessed pain. Jung might describe them as those deeply possessed by archetypes of fragmentation, the wounded child, the trickster, the saboteur. But instead of integrating these forces, they perform them. They play out chaos like a theatrical role, drawing others in to co-star in their drama. And the more spiritually attuned you are, the more they'll seek you out. Your calm is a magnet, your groundedness, a stage. But remember this, not every cry for help is a call to serve. Some are invitations to abandon yourself. The universe speaks through patterns. If someone's life is an endless loop of crisis, and you're constantly the rescuer, ask yourself, what part of your spirit still thinks you owe salvation to those who refuse evolution? That's not compassion, that's energetic entanglement. The mystical path asks for discernment, when to offer presence and when to walk away. Just as you wouldn't swim into a hurricane to prove your loyalty to the ocean, don't immerse yourself in someone's chaos to prove your love. Practical steps can be subtle yet powerful. Begin. Cleansing rituals after contact. Sage, water, silence. Set energetic boundaries in meditation. Visualize your aura as a force field, unshakable, impenetrable. Observe how your body reacts around them. Does your chest tighten? Do your thoughts race? That's your spirit signaling danger. Spirituality is not about tolerating everything. It's about protecting the sacredness of your inner peace. Not all storms are meant to be weathered. Some are meant to be avoided entirely. The truth is, people, addicted to chaos, don't want solutions. They want reactions. They want to feel alive through friction. Your calmness isn't comforting to them. It's offensive. Your grounded presence reveals the chaos they refuse to face. And instead of softening, they'll escalate. They'll poke, provoke, destabilize. It's not personal, it's patterned. But you don't have to participate. The most mystical response to madness is silence. A silence so deep, it becomes a mirror they can't look into. And from that silence, you'll begin to rise, clear, centered, sovereign. As you step away from those who survive on disorder, you make room for a new vibration, peace as power, stillness as strength. But the final gate awaits, not the obvious storm, but the gentle deception. The ones who ask for too much, too often in the name of connection. That final lesson is not about chaos, it's about choice. And it leads us to the ultimate act of spiritual rebellion, protecting your peace as a divine right. There comes a moment on the mystical path where you realize protecting your peace is not weakness. It is power. It is not selfishness. It is sacred duty. Your soul didn't come here to be drained, manipulated, or confused. It came to remember its divine origin, to walk in alignment with the universe, and to express truth without apology. And for that, peace isn't optional. It's essential. Just like a candle cannot burn in the wind, your inner light cannot shine in environments that assault your spirit. The truth is, some people won't understand your need for silence. They'll call your boundaries cold. They'll label your absence as betrayal. But what they really mean is, I no longer have access to your energy. And that, dear seeker, is a sign of growth. In spirituality, we learn that every no is a prayer, a declaration that your field is sacred. You don't need to justify why you left, why you unplugged, why you declined the invitation. If your body contracts, if your soul feels clouded, the decision has already been made. The mystical universe respects clarity. When you begin honoring your energy, it responds. People fall away, opportunities recalibrate, new allies emerge, ones who don't drain but expand. Protecting your peace sends out a signal. This soul is no longer available for chaos, and the universe, in all its quiet intelligence, rearranges reality to match your vibration. But this shift can be lonely. Don't mistake that for wrongness. Silence often precedes expansion. Jung spoke of individuation, the sacred journey of becoming whole. That path demands solitude, not isolation from others, but a return to your own center. You begin seeing that spirituality isn't just meditation and light, it's fierce boundary work. It's choosing silence over drama, stillness over reaction. It's realizing that your peace is your compass. And when people challenge it, they're not challenging you. They're challenging your awakening, your return to yourself. Start weaving rituals into your daily life that honor your inner sanctuary. Say no without guilt. Unplug from noise. Watch the sky. Keep a dream journal by your bed. Speak affirmations before sleep. Burn herbs that clear. Wear symbols that protect. Not because you fear attack, but because you honor resonance. The mystical life is not a performance. It's a quiet alignment with the sacred patterns of the cosmos. When you protect your peace, you step into that rhythm. People will misunderstand. You let them. Your spiritual path is not a public debate. You don't owe the world access to your evolution. Some chapters are meant to be written in silence. You'll know who belongs in your space. They won't ask for more than you can give. They won't make you question your worth. They'll walk with you, not pull from you. And that in itself is a form of divine confirmation. Peace attracts those who are at peace with themselves. Protecting your peace is a mystical rebellion against the noise of the world. It's refusing to be pulled into cycles of reaction, into the chaos of others. It's choosing the slow breath over the quick fix, the pause over the defense. And that act, quiet, invisible, is one of the most powerful declarations you can make in this universe. You're saying, my soul matters, my light matters, my truth matters. And from that space, everything sacred begins to unfold. And so, the journey reaches its threshold. We began with intuition, that quiet whisper of the spirit. And now we end with sovereignty, the full embodiment of your divine right to exist in peace. But before we close, there's one last truth. Spiritual protection isn't just about defending against darkness. It's about choosing the light again and again. And in that choice, a new kind of life emerges, one aligned not with survival, but with soul. And that is where your real power begins. So tell me, have you ever felt any of these energies in someone close to you? Drop your experience in the comments. I want to know which one hit home for you. Your story could help someone else awaken too. And if this content helped you see something you couldn't unsee, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. It's the only way to not miss what's coming next. Every video on this channel is crafted to unlock a deeper layer of your mystical path. Up next, watch the video that's appearing on your screen right now. It goes even deeper into the invisible forces shaping your relationships and your soul's journey. With clarity, with reverence, and always in truth, this is Celestial Truths. See you in the next revelation.